ideal FBA is an FBA partner that wants, either is doing it themselves, built a warehouse in COVID. Hey, this is going really well. Hey, I'm looking at, hey, the lease is up. Don't know if I really want to continue to do this fulfillment on my own or do the FBA on my own. We're here for you. That's what we do. We've done that for a number of brands where you continue to own and operate the brands. We build the shipment for you, or you build the shipment and send the file to us and we execute. That's a big opportunity for us. We also have a full in-house creative team.
One, two, three.
Welcome to the Smartest Amazon Seller Podcast. It's your host, Scott Needham. I am very excited for today's guest. He has resembled my Amazon experience in a lot of ways, where started out reselling, ventured out into some other services, even a little bit of private label. But on some of those things, has succeeded more. So I'm excited to have with me Blaine Davis from Marketplace Pros, and we'll talk about his journey and I don't know some of the interesting trends that I've either missed out on or what's going on. Blaine, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, Scott, thanks for having me. We're a big user of Smart Scout and have for quite some time. I think we met you and your team many moons ago at one of the other Amazon conferences. So it's been fun to see you guys scale as well. So
yeah. One thing that, it's a big ocean. It's so interesting to be this many years into it, doing a podcast for 5 years and come across people like you who have almost kind of lived with some parallels. And like I say to people, the ocean is bigger than you think. There are a lot of different ways to succeed on Amazon. There are a lot of different categories, and there are a lot of 7, 8, 9-figure sellers. People kind of they brush off one type of seller as not relevant anymore. And I'm like, I don't know. They're bigger than there's more than you think. Mm-hmm. And so just tell me a little bit more about your background, Marketplace Pros, how you came to where you are. And I'm sure we're going to find some similarities, but already I know something that you've succeeded. We'll jump into your experience in the automotive category. Yeah.
Yeah, I can jump. We started this business coming off of the owners. Dad was what I call an independent tool truck owner, and said we grew up in college kind of flipping stuff on eBay. Hey, we got to find some money to go to ball games or have a few drinks on the weekends. And so we'd go to do some retail arbitrage, 20 years ago in college. And so he came over to take over his dad's business, brought it online. That was kind of the eBay time. And then as eBay kind of fell off and Amazon took over, and naturally everything went to Amazon. So he was in the automotive space. We naturally started in the automotive space, reselling some of the brands, 3M, Milwaukee, and some of those other automotive / tool brands. And so, as we got, good at that and say, hey, we can sell, Irwin's a wrench. Why can't we sell our own? As we are seeing, we can do more and more. This is, 10 years ago. And so that's kind of when private label was kind of a new thing. And so we got started on that really early and kind of rolled that for a long time until over the last, 3 or 4 years when Amazon got really popular and more competitive, and the ads became, more and more competitive. And so that's kind of how it came up and, on the private label side. And if you look on the brand reselling side, we sell around 250 brands on Amazon, some very exclusive, some not so much, and some in between. And so it's been a long ride from, hey, we're just going to start throwing some stuff online to, hey, we're now a big player in this space and everything that comes along with it.
Yeah. I know, what a lot of people want is, that starting this reselling journey is you want more predictable, easier opportunities. Right. And that is that's getting an exclusive. Exclusives are they're awesome partnerships where, you and a brand are kind of doing this Amazon thing together. Has that been a big part of the growth, the exclusives?
I think it really became when we were having our leadership meeting saying, hey, what does this business look like in 3 and 5 to 10 years? And it's really come down to how well we can provide value to those partners, whether that's in our 3PL business or our Amazon business, or I would call our marketplace business, because some brands want Walmart help or Amazon help, and a mixture of the two. And so it's very important. If I always try to put myself in their shoes, and if I'm the Amazon lead at a big company, I want to have somebody that I know I can trust. That's going to have the account standing, that's not going to get shut down, that's going to have the capital needed to repurchase inventory, that's going to get it there effectively. If there's if there's pricing issues, that those are solved, that are willing to help on the stuff that is hard, the gray market sellers, helping with those things. But when you think about the long-term sustainable businesses in this space, I believe it's those that provide value to those brands, or build a brand themselves that speaks to customers that they can leverage.
So what's it like having a few private label brands in-house while you're also reselling? Has that ever created like a conflict where you're like, oh, this one's more valuable, this is our future?
There hasn't been a direct like product crossover. It has been brought up by some of our partners, and we're very transparent. We share with what we sell. We share on the numbers. I think there was one time when we talked. There was an ad concern of, hey, if we'd be advertising the same their keywords, or a broad keyword in the same space, but we haven't had a lot of overlap where it's caused.
Right, but I'm talking about also, but like internally, has one business been like, this is our future, we think that we can.
I think that the neat part about that is doing this for a dozen years now, is we've seen, hey, right away, it was like, hey, we're going to resell and get as many brands as we can. But then we see the margins are limited. And so, okay, let's go to the 3P or a private label side, because the margins will be bigger. But as we did that, as I mentioned, everything got more and more competitive. And so, and the MLQs are higher, and the time to get that to Amazon to sell takes a little bit longer. So those, for a long time, private label was the thing for us. And so we invested a lot of time. And now as it got more competitive and we're leaning more into exclusive, those exclusive, although they require a lot more work on the front end and the back end and management, they're likely a more long-term sustainable business from the standard, like copycat Me Too private label product.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned competition, because I acquired my cousin's brand in 2020, and it had like a few micro brands. One of them that was like stand apart of its own is actually a little automotive repair tool. And here's the funny thing. I have no idea what these kits do.
Yeah.
Have I spent time like in the ads? Yes, I've like been like, okay, flywheel puller. If we use this keyword, it's performing this way, and like if we use this other direction, like it's funny. Like I learn about the product just by looking at the keywords and how they perform.
Yeah, and that's what's unique about Amazon. That's what Amazon really, at the end of the day, is a keyword based search engine, and more than that. But as long as you know your keywords and your A, B, and C versions, you don't really need to know the product as good as the guy selling it next door, because you're going to put a good product. Now, it's assuming you have a good product, but you're going to get the right keywords, get them in front of the customer, and the customer's going to make that decision.
Yeah, no, it's funny, the layers of separation. You guys have been in automotive for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's unique about that category? What are some of the challenges? And I mean, like, what excites you about the category?
I think that what's been different about automotive versus the other ones we've kind of dabbled in over the last few years is it's not a traditional retail business. It's more done, to automotive shops or B2B. And Amazon really took it from a B2B business to a B2C business, where the customers actually, instead of buying the tool from the guy in the truck that drove up to his shop, he's now has the opportunity to buy his oil and everything from Amazon. And so it really changed that business, where, not overnight, but over a few years, it changed from, hey, I'm going to buy everything from somebody who stops at my store, to, hey, I can go on Amazon and I can click this and I can get my wrench, my oil, and all these things very quickly, and not have to spend the time in somebody's truck, or have my team spend time in somebody's truck, I can get it right away. And so the industry itself took a while to understand the volume that Amazon could bring. I remember when we started, we would buy what our standard monthly order amount, and these brands would be like, where is all this going? We don't understand where this business is, because they just don't understand the volume that Amazon could bring. Now, that was 7-8 years ago. Now everybody has a pretty good idea of what Amazon can do, the volume they can do when you do it right. So that's the biggest thing. I would say it's much different than a CPG or something that's more retail based. And so that's the uniqueness of the automotive space.
If you get into the automotive where you're actually like, doing maybe even car parts, or like something that like works for specific types of vehicles, then you can get really heavy in the SKU count. Have you been on that side of automotive?
Yeah, we talk about, we partnered with Mopar for some time, and it was like a seat cushion for like a 2012 Dodge Durango. And we sold more seat cushions than they'd made in the last few years, according to our rep. And it goes back to, if the product's on Amazon, we can see the demand, we can see the search volume, we'll put the product on Amazon for you. So to the point about it, if it's on there and the demand's there and the keywords are right, it will sell. Now, to the point about having a lot of different SKUs, there is, a lot in the automotive space. They can have iterations on replacement parts. So there's the version AB, and then what AB, they find the better version, AC comes out. And so AB is now superseded. So you do kind of have to play that fine line of, hey, don't buy the right amount, but don't buy too much, because that could be, irrelevant or superseded with a new item, in the next few months. But we never went really deep in parts. We were more lubricants, some parts, but never to the point where we had, 30 different, parts for a, Ford truck. It was small. Hey, we're going to get the A movers in the space, make sure they're listed and selling correctly.
But you were kind of saying, I didn't expect to see this, but margins have actually tightened up as the space has gotten a little bit more saturated. That's obviously not a lot of fun. I've seen a few products in my private label business kind of get just like, the competition just came in and you're like, there's not a lot here,
Yeah, that's we talk about that all the time, and not all the time. It's I guess it's always in our mind. I don't know if we talk about it all the time, but something, a product for us that has been a long time staple, over time. Hey, you take a look at margin, like, wow, I don't know if this is something we can continue to invest money in. The demand is still there, but we either got to negotiate better terms, better pricing to make it work. It's never, it's something rarely, they rarely stay the same. And you talk about what worked, on a Mopar part, we did really well with the OEM version. Once, a new seller will come off with their own version of that. And then, hey, what used to sell 10,000 units a month at $50, now we're competing against a $30 product. And so our share is naturally going to get eroded a little bit by that new private label piece made by, a manufacturer overseas.
So, this is just me being transparent. Like we've got one product. We sell a ping pong paddle and it's kind of a commodity, and there's a ton.
Yeah, that's gotta be. Yeah.
There's a ton of ping pong paddle sets, and like, it's really interesting because like some of them are really trying to go up market. They're like, hey, this paddle for a single paddle, it's $60.
Yeah.
And, they're trying to like convey that this is for like people that are taking it seriously versus like, the inexpensive sets where it's just like, okay, here's a set of 4 paddles. This is what you get. Sure, it comes with a few balls. This is what you get. And we're on that commodity side. And we're doing a little re-ranking campaign right now. And it makes me feel that I'm like, I don't know how to really make money off of this. I know how to rank. I have to lose money to rank.
Yep.
And it's almost like to win, I have to be willing to lose money for 6 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
I need to go deep in inventory so I get lower MOQs. I need to do more discounting to get to those top bestseller ranks, and then find margins. So that's kind of tough. Like just to like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's. Oh, good. Finish.
Well, sorry, it looked like you had something to relate, but
Yeah.
my final thing is like, you know what? We probably could, but it just takes more time investment. And here's the thing. I'm not like the best private label seller because I'm a very diversified like Amazon guy. I do
Yeah.
reselling, private label. I talk to like agencies all the time. I build software. I look at the data. And so I know some of the steps to do. They just take time. You know, they
Yeah.
take experimenting and
Take patience. Like, you got to be able, you got to stay on that skinny branch for a long time. And, that's something that changed for us. When we launched private label, our goal was SKUs, because at that point you could launch them, find an idea, vet it, and get it to market pretty quickly. In the MOQ, there wasn't a lot of competition, so you could bring these SKUs out. Money was cheap. You get a lot of items out there, and there's limited risk. They would sell them all. Now, to your point, you got to be very strategic and rifle approach with how you go about this. You got to know the keywords you're going to attack. How much you're going to spend. Do you go with A keywords versus the B or C? It's a big. It's so much different than it was 5, 6, 8 years ago.
yeah.
You can't. Yeah.
Are you still launching more products?
Not nearly the level we used to. We used to do 100 or so a year, and now I think we're down. We're going to do 30 this year, just because the 30 that the time it takes to mature those 30 is almost as much as it used to take to do 100 or 150. 5, 6, 8 years ago.
Interesting. Well, yeah, no, like the space certainly has changed. If you you look at the fee stack, it's enumerating, and there's one new fee that I think last week, no, maybe 2 weeks ago, was the first time that I saw it in Seller Central, the low inventory fee. And I was looking at like the different FBA products that we had, and it would say in their manage inventory tool, like this one's exempt from low inventory fee. This one's exempt, or like this one, like no fee, no fee, no fee. And then there was a few that had a fee, and was paying, what is it, 50 cents, 75 cents more to ship those ones out. How are you guys reconciling with some of these fees, seeing that you are also doing a 3PL for service for others as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one thing, because of the number of brands we represent, the 3PL. We have the volume to inbound things very cost effectively. There's definitely some impact with the inventory placement fee, but on the lower inventory fee, it's unique for a reseller there, and so we're working through the challenges there. Whether we have the right priced inventory, but for us, it's about a $500 impact a week. Now that's going to vary as we kind of right size inventory and get it in at their cadence. I get what Amazon's trying to do here. They want to have consistent inventory flow. I get it. I like how they rolled it out. I wish I would have been a little bit better. They gave everybody a month. Like, hey, we're going to charge you the fee, but we're going to really reimburse it to give you an idea of what it's going to do. They should do that with all their programs. I think it's a really good chance for the seller to get it into their system, see how it flows, and then understand the impact. But it's unique. It's just another. I don't want to hop on the fee bandwagon, but it's another fee that I get what they're trying to do. I just wish there was a better way for them to accomplish a goal without another fee.
Now, over the last, the years that you've been in this space, have there ever been any like challenges or things that just did not like kind of go the way you look back, you're like, that kind of failed?
Yeah, I think we like I said, started reselling, went into private label, kind of plateaued on private label. I think our approach to private label really worked to start, and then we had to reset and say, okay, this is a different space now, and so that really, we talked about moving to the agency space with Marketplace Pros, which came out of an internal discussion with brands like, hey, what are your challenges? Hey, we don't need another reseller. We really need a partner. partner that can handle our inventory, our 3PL. Hey, we don't want you just to buy. We don't want to be transactional. We need somebody that will actually provide value to do the stuff, that Smart Scout's doing, to help with, unauthorized sellers, category fee. I just think there's this huge opportunity for brands, and some brands know it, some are really good, but there's a lot more over many different spaces where they still don't know how big their category is. They could be growing at 5 to 10% a year, but the category is growing at 20 to 30, and their share is shrinking over the years, but they think they're doing better. So providing that level of insight really is what's going to help brands succeed. So I think our transition from just a standard kind of Amazon seller to really a brand partner is really kind of our biggest.
I always like it. Lately, like the last few months, I've just been like, anytime someone comes in and I'm like, ooh, I see a transition. You guys have kind of changed the way that you're, taking your business and thinking about how to make it better on Amazon. And sometimes it means a full pivot. And so sounds like you guys have done that a few times. Okay, so like 2024, we're getting closer to 2025. What excites you about the marketplace?
I think what excites me is that, there's this transition or there's this leadership, a kind of old school, I'd say, retail brand leadership that is kind of, the baby boomers transitioning out, when there's now people going into those roles that understand Amazon, understand they need a new partner, understand that maybe Amazon retail isn't that partner, or Amazon retail doesn't want them, that there is this big opportunity to provide brands that insight and guidance they need for Amazon. So that excites me. Our 3PL, what we do, for brands across different categories, both locally and then, internationally too, excite me. Brands, that want to be on .com, that are overseas, but want that presence. That's exciting. And I think overall, I think e-commerce isn't going away. I think it's going to become more and more frictionless. So those are the things that excite me. And I think Amazon, that as much as they're a pain to work with at times, they're never not evolving or adapting. And when I get to their camps, I'm always encouraged by the amount of the questions they ask, because they're asking the right questions. And so that's always good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a behemoth of a company. And, I think a few years ago, I was feeling like, oh, they're a monopoly, no one can touch them. That's not entirely true. There's a lot of companies that are going after them, and more now than ever, as like Chinese marketplaces have just set up shop in the last year, and kind of, and then you can include TikTok Shop. I just saw something that made me think that they're doing about 5 or 6 billion a year on TikTok Shop, which they started that from zero a year ago.
Yeah. And I think that, with Amazon's willingness to partner with them, I always look at 2 and 3rd order effects later. What's their motivation to do it? I think they understand that they have to, their social efforts within the app haven't panned out. So if they're going to go where the eyeballs aren't TikTok. So that's where they're going to build.
If I understand, that partnership is where, I guess, a sponsored video on TikTok can go straight to a checkout experience on Amazon.
Yeah, I think they just announced their MCF is now completely synced in to TikTok Shop too. So those brands that are using FBA or AGL can now, Amazon wants their inventory in their supply chain. Where the channel in which you sell it, I think it is becoming less and less important, I believe. But they're going to still leverage their supply chain to own as much of that as they can.
For the MCF multi-channel fulfillment, they charge more for it. I could see that being a profit. Yep. That could be a profit center of its own.
Yep. I mean, that's what they're so great at. They take those cost centers and turn them into profit centers. So it's and if you're TikTok, you're not going to build that out on your own. You're not going to make that investment. You got to be with everything else they got going on.
Yeah, I haven't seen a fulfillment network rival Amazon's even by a mile. Walmart's trying, but they still have lots of years to catch up.
I think on Walmart's side, they have the stores. I think a great team over there. I think just the part that I think Amazon's or Walmart's missing is the AWS backbone that Amazon operates on is such an advantage for them too. That the search experience for me on Amazon is, I just search the same thing. I get wildly different results on Walmart. And I just don't think that they've solved that part yet.
The search,
getting me what I want. And that's the biggest, there's just a gap on their user experience search to me.
Yeah. Their algorithm may not be as adaptive to what we would expect as like marketplace sellers. I've heard that feedback before. That's interesting.
Well, Amazon's had, 20 years on them. So I understand there's a lot to make up there. Yeah.
Well, Blaine, thanks for coming on and, just chatting.
Yeah. Hey, Scott.
This feels like a conversation that I have at a conference where you're just like sitting and just chilling and, running through, just experiences that you have. I know you guys offer a variety of services. Obviously you work with brands, and you have a 3PL. Who's an ideal fit for your 3PL?
Ideal FBA is an FBA partner that wants, either is doing it themselves, built a warehouse in COVID. Hey, this is going really well. Hey, I'm looking at, the lease is up. I don't know if I really want to continue to do this, the fulfillment on my own or do the FBA on my own. We're here for you. That's what we do. We've done that for a number of brands, where you continue to own and operate the brands. We build the shipment for you, or you build the shipment and send the file to us and we execute. That's a big opportunity for us. We also have a full in-house creative team. And we also offer standard, warehouse 3PL for some of our partners too. So if you just need some space in the U.S., we can just store the product too. So,
well, if you have any questions or you just want to poke up Blaine's brain, you can reach out to you. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, Twitter, Blaine Davis, and LinkedIn, Marketplace Pros, Blaine Davis. Those are the main ones. And emails Blaine at Marketplace Pros. So,
okay. Well, I wish we had millions of listeners to blow you up, but I don't think we got millions yet.
I trust the group we have. Those are my Amazon people like you. Those are the ones. Those are the conversations I enjoy.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you, Blaine, for coming on. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll wrap up there. That's the pod, and stay tuned for the next ones.
1, 2, 3.